All right, welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for our May LGBTQ plus commission meeting. We're going to jump right in. So if you are a commissioner, make sure that you have your camera on, please. And we're going to see who all is here. I'm Kat Odell, Chair. Vice Chair Michael, are you here?
I'm here, DHS.
Thank you. Secretary Philip?
Present. I'm alone in the room.
Thank you. And then Finance Director Shanda?
I am present and alone in the room.
Thank you. And Sandy, are you here? Did not see Sandy today. Not here. Joe, are you with us? Joe Tolby? No? Okay. Rocco is not here. Rick, are you here?
I'm here and alone in the room.
Thank you.
Kat, I might need to leave early. We'll still have a quorum without me, right?
I have to count here. How many people do we have? 1, 2, 3. Okay, yes. Superintendent Education Designee. Okay, Beth Schimmelfeld.
Hi, my name is Rhonda Wong.
Rhonda.
Beth is out of office today, so I'm subbing in for her on her behalf, and she's on behalf of the superintendent.
Thanks for being here, Rhonda. We appreciate that. And UH Systems Designee, Dr. Cameron Miyamoto.
Present, alone in the room.
Thank you. And then we have David Rodriguez, Director of Labor and Industrial Relations Designee.
Designee David Rodriguez, yes, here.
Thank you so much. Director of Human Resources Development Designee, Signe Nakamura Dereza. Are you here?
Did you say my name? Hi.
Oh, Sandy, I called you earlier, and you are here. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hi.
Are you alone in the room?
Sorry. Yes, I'm alone in the room.
Sounds like you're a little bit hoarse today. Poor thing. Okay. Okay, and then Director of Human Services, John Kimura.
Hello.
Thank you. Director of Health Designee, Thad Pham, are you here? Not here. And with us, we have our Secretary, Devin. She is waving hello. She's there manning the owl. Okay, and then we have, let's see, who do we have as guests today? Let's take a look. Kiona Boyd. She gives a shaka. Okay. And then I believe that's Erin, E.L.
That's correct. Thank you.
Our Attorney General, thank you. And then let's see, Dominic.
Yes, that is correct. Hi, Kat.
Thank you. Hi. And Joe Wilson.
Hello, hi everyone.
Hello. And Celine.
Hi, present and alone.
Thank you. And Sarah.
I am here.
Thank you, Sarah. And Marguerite.
Hi, I'm here from Indivisible. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, welcome. All right, we'll go ahead and see. We have no written testimony, do we, Michael? Do we have any late additions?
No late additions. It was in the board packet.
Okay, terrific. Then we'll go on to members' shares, concerns, and reports. So commissioners, who would like to start? Rick, please.
Thank you. And did we see somebody, Dominic? Did we call that name? I didn't.
We did.
I didn't know him. Yeah, I wanted to do a shout out to the Legacy Foundation and to Cameron for the rainbow graduation ceremony that they had at Hawaii Theater. Beautiful event, very good speakers, very kind of the Hawaii Theater to sponsor. That was great. But I was able to go and it was really good. Thank you.
So glad you could be there. Thank you, Rick. Other commissioners, shares and concerns?
Here.
Michael?
I direct your attention to the board packet there. In there, you'll see the statement from Chair and I on the Supreme Court's decision regarding allowing the Trump administration's ban for transgender military to go through. Also, they've announced the 3 honorees for this year's Pride, Business of Pride from the Pacific Business News, and fellow chair of the Commission on Fatherhood, Jeff Esmond, was one of those selected for this year's. Coming up in June 13th at the Kahala Hotel is Youth Ride Fest, put on by Spill the Tea Cafe. They help provide mental health access for the Keiki. As well as I do want to draw attention again to the so-called SAVE Act. In my conversation with Congresswoman Takuda over the weekend, that we still need people in red states to reach out to their senators. So everybody reach out to your senators, your family in Ohana on the continent, reach out to their senators, tell them to vote no on the SAVE Act, because that will be devastating to anybody that got married and took their partner's name. As well as there could be problems for the transgender community, and more likely there will be problems for the transgender community when it comes to voting on federal elections, should the SAVE Act go into law. Reminder, everybody, your 2025 financial disclosures are due by June 2nd. The link is also in the board packet, and our numbers keep on going up in our social media, so thank you for everybody who's sharing and liking those. And one last thing is June 1st, there will be Act Up, Speak Up, Silence Equals Death at the Hawaii State Capitol. We're encouraging the organizers that are encouraging people to everybody to hold something on all the islands to kick off Pride Month, because Pride is a remembrance of a protest and a riot. So that is all I have. Thank you. Plus everything else.
Thank you so much, Michael. Other commissioners? Philip, please.
Just 2 quick things. First one is Michael had forwarded me a list of resources, I guess, that he gathered at the Queer Day at the Capitol. And I am updating the resource guide, and taking longer than I wanted it to, but that will be updated hopefully really soon, and then that will go on the website. And the second thing, I just wanted to mention that the Queer Justice Toward Queer Justice display that Joe Wilson and Dean Hamer did, which was at the on Oahu in October, is coming to the island of Kauai. They have generously, I guess they had, maybe Joe can correct me if this isn't right, but they had some grant money, and so it's coming, and will be installed in the lobby of Kauai Community College Performing Arts Center on May 30th, and then there's a big event there that evening, which is kind of like a Pride kickoff. And then it's going to remain on the island for at least 30 days, May 30th through June 30th. And I'm trying to find some other locations, maybe a week here, a week there, etc. But I'm really excited about that. Like, we have something, like it's kind of a big deal. So I'm trying to publicize that and get people excited. But if you're on Kauai, please stop by and visit.
That's fantastic news. Thank you so much, Philip, and thanks for all the updates that you're giving on the website as well. Other commissioners?
Just wanted to mention that Honolulu's gay community lost a very important member this last weekend with a tragic death. His name was Justin Johnston, and he has lived in Honolulu for 20 years and has been a bedrock for many people seeking family and friendship and support and acceptance. And he is leaving a huge hole in our community. So I just wanted to mention his name.
Thank you for honoring such a wonderful person in our community. Appreciate that, Sandy. Other commissioners? Okay, how about our ex officios? Shares and concerns? Shanda, do you have a finance director's report for us?
Public testimony on the shares and concerns, Chair.
Public testimony on the shares and concerns? Okay, Shanda, did you have a report?
Yeah, the good news I have to attest is that checks were actually sent out from our budget, I believe, to numerous people to begin the process of reimbursement for travel. So that is exciting. If anybody received an email saying they were getting a check and has not received it, let me know also, please, because I want to try to keep track of that. And I got the receipt for the tables and chairs, and I am finishing up all of the cleaning up our budget for end of year.
Thank you for all your work, Shanda. Appreciate that very much. And yes, everyone was very excited to be getting checks. All right, public testimony on the director's report. Okay, then I'm very, oh, go
Pat?
ahead. Sorry.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to clarify or seek clarification on when, is this the moment when community can offer information about events, or does that come at the end of the meeting?
Oh, you please, you go right ahead.
Oh, okay, now's appropriate. Thanks. Well, my name is Joe Wilson. I'm with the Leipo Ala Queer Histories of Hawaii project, and I just wanted to pick up on what Philip mentioned and first really thank him for the leadership that he provided as a state, not just a state commissioner, but as somebody really deeply embedded with the diversity of Kauai's community. He really did a lot of work to create this opportunity at Kauai Community College. And for us, it's really exciting because our work is simply aimed at helping to spread seeds of visibility and understanding in as many places as we can. So we'll be sharing more information based on Philip's announcement. And we have two other quick events to mention here that we'll follow up with information as well. But on Wednesday, June 4th, we're working with Hawaii LGBT Legacy Foundation to do a dedication ceremony for a new historical plaque to honor Queen Surf Beach. It's going to be a wonderful event. The mayor's going to be in attendance, many kapuna from that era, and then the younger generation that's now reclaiming and reactivating that space, the Mahui from the Legacy Foundation as well. So we invite everyone to attend. It'll be at 4:00 in the afternoon. There'll be a Ava ceremony and community picnic, and then hopefully people can hang around and get down to the Return of Kapai Mahu show, because it is a Wednesday evening, and Wednesdays in Waikiki are the Return of Kapai Mahu. And then on June 12th, which I believe is a Thursday, again, in partnership with the Hawaii LGBT Legacy Foundation, there will be a screening of a historical film from 1993. Hard to believe the 1990s are considered history now. It's called Out in Paradise, and it was produced by amazing women here in Hawaii, Sarah Banks and Kate Sample. And it's just a beautiful 1-hour film that brings forward interviews with 30 lesbian and gay women who were living in Hawaii at that time, talking about, you know, so many things that are relevant today. So again, more information will be going out about that as well. But again, Hawaii Theater on June 12th. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Joe. And if you have any links that you want to put in the chat for everyone who's on the meeting, feel free to do that. I know that everybody would
coming soon.
Put that on their calendars. Thank you. Wonderful. All right. We have some guest speakers today, which is very exciting. When I was attending our one of our, at our CTAR conference, actually, one of my colleagues, a fellow instructor, had some students do a poster presentation, and the information was so very interesting and so very relevant to this commission that I asked if they might do us the honor of coming and speaking to us about their findings around how we do or do not, or how we do support LGBTQ plus students in our public school system. So today, and let's see if we have everybody here. I saw Sarah Ireland is here. Athena, are you here? Yes, wonderful. Trisha Gilmet.
Here.
Thank you. Trisha's here too. And Keely, I'm sorry, Aizawa Smith. I think I got that right. You're with us also?
Yes, sorry.
There she is. And then Nicholas Rulon.
Hello.
Thank you all so much for being here today. Did you have some slides that you wanted to share?
Yes.
Okay. See if you have share access down there.
Request has been sent.
Okay. Who is sharing them exactly? Because I'll just go ahead.
Sarah.
Sarah is. I'm the co-host right now, Devin. Can you let them share?
I think I have access.
Oh, you do? Okay, great.
Can you guys see what I'm looking at? Okay, perfect.
Thank you. All right, whenever you all are ready, thank you so much.
Athena, if you'd like to get us started.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. We are Na'apono, and this is a needs assessment of sex education for public schools in Hawaii. As you mentioned, my name is Athena.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Kelly.
I'm Trisha.
And I'm Nicholas.
Okay, so just going into a general description of our presentation, Na'apono initially started as an HDFS 352 Community Needs and Resources semester-long assignment. And this is a needs assessment that seeks to identify critical knowledge gaps and improve upon the current state of sex education in Hawaii's public schools.
For our methodology approach, we use both quantitative and qualitative data to gain comprehensive understanding of sex education experiences here in Hawaii. And we use both, we use survey, which we created on the Google Forms, and then also distributed it via email to get responses. And we also posted some of them on social media. And the responses we got, some of 71 response from the survey, and we also each did interviews in person, which we got 10. And most of the sex education that was covered during high school was just was the contraceptive methods, basic anatomy, STDs and STIs. But we also found that some of them are not satisfied with what they learned. And So some demographics within our survey findings, we had 49 identify as female, 21 as male, and 1 preferred not to say. And our age ranges within these surveys were between 18 to 66. So for 20 years old, it was about 19%, 21 also about 19%, and 19 years old was about 16. And within our interview age ranges, 19 to 30, the median was 0.24 and standard deviation was 11.2. And we also had a very big range within race identification with those. So 57% Asian, 24.3 Native Hawaiian, 7.1 identified as white, 5.7 as Hispanic or Latino, and 4.3 Pacific Islander, and 1.4% Native American. And this is some important key findings we found. One question we asked was perceptions and experiences with sex education. And the highest answer we got within this, with 82.1%, they felt the course lacked LGBTQ plus content. And 67.7 were not satisfied with their school sex ed curriculum in general. 58.9 would not recommend the course to future students. 47.1 never had the conversation with a trusted adult. 49.3 felt uncomfortable discussing sex with parents or a guardian. And 47.9 never had the talk specifically about intercourse.
So really what we found with these key survey findings was that there was a lack of sufficient sex ed both in the educational setting, but also at home. So that knowledge gap was becoming really, really strong. And the demand for LGBTQ plus knowledge specifically was very high. So again, kind of repeating what Kelly had said, one of our most alarming statistics that we really got was 0% of respondents said that they felt strongly there was an adequate education in this area. And 82.4% disagreed or strongly disagreed that what is currently being taught is adequate. This was the only one of our questions that had no strongly agree responses. So that really stuck out to us. But some other stats that also really stood out to us was that almost 60% of students don't want the sex education they receive to continue, and think/know there need to be changes to really improve what high schoolers are walking away with. Less than half the respondents said they felt their sex ed program left them feeling prepared to make informed decisions regarding sex. This includes their sexual health, their sexual choices, just having knowledge of what resources there is available to them, because there is a lot of resources that do exist, but knowledge of those resources or how to access them has been extremely limited. About 75% of respondents felt that they were not given information about those resources. And a majority of those respondents felt the public education lacked adequate information. And again, not having those conversations about sex at home either is really producing that critical knowledge gap.
So we also did those tenor interviews, like in person with people. And some of the key findings that we got from that was that people wanted to learn about more, right? The education that they did get just wasn't sufficient. They wanted to learn more about sexual violence, how to talk to their parents and guardians about sex and sex-related topics. And they wanted more LGBTQ plus awareness, different gender and sexual identities and orientations, and just generally decreasing stigma on romantic relationships and sexual relationships.
All right, so just moving on to some specific testimonies. Like Nick said, we did interview about 10 people. These are just like two stories that really stood out to us. So first is from one of my interviewees. She spent a lot of her time talking about how she grew up in the Korean church as Christian, and that really warped her view of sex and sexual health as a whole, among other things. Specifically, when we asked about, how she viewed LGBTQ plus relationships, how she viewed them in general, she mentioned how there was really nothing there, no resources for her to learn from, because the adults in her community and everyone else in her community, like the church, really disagreed that, gay relationships and any of that sort were okay. In this quote, she specifically talks about attending anti-LGBT rallies with the church, directly across from the rallies. And she really hammered home about how she really had no autonomy and no knowledge. It took her a very long time to even realize that these things were normal, not only like sexual relationships, but like romantic LGBTQ plus relationships. She wasn't even aware that that was a thing. And yeah, her sheltered background really played a key role in that, alongside the lack of education that she did receive in public school.
And then the second quote was from an interview that I had. This person is from North Shore, so we talked a lot about the systemic and generational problem that is teen pregnancy, especially up there, and how that can be very much generationally reinforced. But the other thing that she really hit home about was that schools were not having any kind of conversation about LGBTQ topics, and that it had a really strong negative lasting impact because it felt very taboo, something that if you were curious, you couldn't talk about, you couldn't explore. And again, this tends to carry over into a lot of families. So when there's not that space at school, there's really no area to explore that, to ask questions, to be curious. We all know kids are very much curious innately, but she didn't have that opportunity to really seek out the knowledge that she wanted or that her peers also really needed. So that was something that she's now, a couple years into the university experience, she's having a lot more access to resources, access to knowledge, and it's a much more open space to communicate about topics like this. But high school, that just simply wasn't an option.
So for our broad takeaways, like what this means to us is that first and foremost, there's too many kids being left in the dark. Our survey and our interviews really show us that kids want this knowledge. They want to learn about LGBTQ plus topics, and they want to learn about broader sexual education on the whole. And it's not there right now, and they recognize that that needs to change.
And also with that, in general, just an improved curriculum needs to be implemented within schools or bringing in other resources into the public school systems to provide this kind of information and knowledge that they can use and take home and talk to their parents too. That's a big important topic, having that talk with their families and parents.
Yeah, and we also feel that it is that the public education system as like they have responsibility to do more than just teach academics, because they should prepare them for real life. And that includes giving them the knowledge and tools to understand their own bodies, relationship, identities, and boundaries. And when they fail to provide the comprehensive and inclusive sex education, sexual health, consent, and emotional well-being, they left them unprepared and unsupported.
Hey, do you guys have any questions for us?
Rick, you have a question, please.
Thank you. First, it was great. I really liked all the information that you provided and that you started that dialogue. Are you able to provide this to other groups? The Hawaii Youth Children's Network is right now working on a few things that I think relate to this. If they were interested, is it okay if they contact somebody?
Absolutely. I can put my email in the chat right now.
Thank you, Sarah. Others, do you all have questions? Janda.
And again, thank you so much. And thank you for sharing this with us. My question for you is, in your research, did you come across any curricula or any best practices that you would recommend if, say, the DOE wanted to implement them?
So part of our project, and this was just as the assignment existed, as we were actually starting to develop kind of a supplemental packet that can be provided to kids. So it's a very rough draft that exists, but what it does is it moves through those areas that are in higher demand of knowledge and serves as kind of that resource to bridge the gap, because we know it's really hard to actually get like the standards of curriculum changed. That is a battle that is hard to fight. So producing a resource that is comprehensive and able to give them a QR code so that they have access to it online, or give them a physical packet so that they can have that with them, so that they actually have the resources there. And a big part of that packet also relies on having resources on Oahu, where you can go to get condoms, where you can go to participate in family planning, where you can go to really execute these things that we're talking about rather than just telling kids that they should be having safe sex.
Thank you, Sarah. I saw another hand. Kiona, did you have a question? Oh, I think you're on mute, Kiona. Try once more. I think she's, oh, there she is. Can we hear you? No, shoot. All right, while you're working on it, feel free to type it in the chat if you'd like, and I'd be happy to read it out. Other questions? Philip?
Well, first of all, thank you sincerely for your interest in this topic. Thank you very, very much. And your work and sharing it with us. I'm a veteran teacher, 14 years here in Hawaii, in a private school, not a public school, but oftentimes, and I was very involved in our school's the development of our school's sex ed curriculum, which we oftentimes would try to follow the path of the public school so that there was some kind of, parents had a sense that everybody was getting the same thing. Their kids maybe weren't missing out on something because they went to a private school. Um, what I noticed when I did that was that the students, all the things that you said, like nothing you said surprised me. All the things that you're sharing, students want to know, they're interested, they should be interested. Sexuality is a part of being a human being. But of course, it's the parents that put up the resistance. So I kind of have two questions. One, maybe you could at least share some thoughts on, is how do we, not just the commission, but in general, how do we, the parents are the ones that need the education a lot of times, not the students. And I recall a time when I was working with a group of high school seniors, and there was a guest speaker who came in, and he was talking about birth control and different kinds of ways to prevent unwanted pregnancy. And one of the students, a female student, raised her hand and said, "We know this, like we've known about this since we were 10 or 11 years old." But that is what seems to be sex ed, is like, let's tell them about contraception and let's tell them about STIs, and let's hint that they probably shouldn't have sex. And these students that I was with were like, we're having sex, we're 16, 17, 18 years old. So do you have thoughts about how because I think that's the only way we're going to move this along, is if parents, because if all the parents wanted it, the Department of Education would say, we got to do this because all the parents want these kids to know more about, queer relationships and, not just how to prevent disease and pregnancy, but that sex is a natural part of human life, and it's about pleasure and conversations about consent and all those things. So do you have thoughts about that?
Yeah, so one of the things, again, it was geared in that supplemental packet, is having resources for these parents on how to have conversations with their kids. Actually having, because guides to those exist. People don't access them very often, but they do exist. And we very much expect pushback, especially in certain areas that are a little bit more religious than others as well. That pushback is very much expected. During one of our poster presentations, we had a woman who was talking to us about her experience where she implemented a sex ed curriculum in an area that was highly religious. And again, we're expecting that kind of pushback from the parents. And there is that initial pushback. When you start to see the positive changes, it lessens. You're seeing those decreased teens pregnancies, decreases in STIs, STDs, and just more informed choices. There is that lessened resistance from parents, but really, because a lot of these parents also graduated from the same public school system. They didn't receive that education too, so that gap exists. So this packet that is we keep talking about also exists as a resource for parents to give them the information first, and then serve as a resource and a guide for how they can have those conversations with their kids.
If I
Thank
could just
you.
add, oh, I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead. Please go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, if I could just add on to what we were talking about in our packet, our sex ed workshop that we created in this assignment did kind of differ from like typical sex ed that we see in public schools. In my own experience, I came from public school all 12 years, and I found that like the experience of what students are receiving in their classes are so varied. One of the people I interviewed didn't even experience sex education in the first place at all. And ours is a bit different because we do focus more on like things like consent and like healthy relationship. Mine was very lacking in our current of it all. So we think focusing on that might be a bit easier to kind of ease into people's minds and their behaviors. And in our abstract that we wrote, we talked about being guided by like the theory of planned behavior and like the socio-ecological model. For the latter, obviously, it's bringing the household in, bringing your community and your family, and even your peers as well into the conversation. But also for the theory of planned behavior, we're trying to like change like behavior change and like by building knowledge, and especially by kind of approaching like these topics that we want to teach through like a lens that like it doesn't have to revolve around sexual health, like things like boundaries. There are so many different aspects of boundaries, so many different ways that someone can cross the boundary in so many different aspects of their life. So I think trying to approach it in that method of showing examples of how to say no and how to stand your ground in situations that don't revolve around sex could be another way to kind of ease people in and get them to.
I think one of the frustrating things for me when I was more involved in this was the parents saying, you know, this is not something that should be taught in school. This is something that should be taught at home, which, you know, as a teacher, you're like, yay, one less thing I have to take responsibility for, but you know what I'm going to say. But then the parents weren't doing it. So, and I know one more question. I don't know if you know the answer to this. Are there is there an impetus for changing the sex ed curriculum in the Hawaii public schools? Is somebody working on it, or I appreciate your work, but it is the state saying, boy, we gotta, you know, get this thing updated. Does anybody care? You know?
As far as my knowledge exists, the push for change is coming from small local organizations, not on a state level. I think there is a recognition that it's not sufficing, but there's not the push yet to actually make that change unless it's coming from these smaller organizations that are pushing for change. But on a state level, as far as I know, there's not been a huge push for change.
No, so and actually, there is no standard curriculum for the HIDOE as one giant school district. Schools have their own choice around that. And so when they say some people got it and some people got it at different times, it may have been at different grade levels that they may or may not have received it. And also in our state, parents have a choice to opt students out. So they have to tell the parents when they're going to give sex ed, and then the parents can pull them out if they so choose. So I will get freshmen at UH who have literally never had sex ed before in my human development course.
Yeah, that's kind of why we also wanted to make it accessible online, because within like our small project, we're also thinking of the workshops, right? And making little merch to give out to the students, and it'll have our QR code access to the online packet, which will also help aid their friends in being able to access that resource if, like Kat mentioned, if their parents opt them out of the sex education classes.
Any other questions? Oh, Rick, yes.
You mentioned an abstract. Is that accessible to the public now?
I could definitely send it over. That's for sure, yes. Our poster, yeah, I can send that. There's nothing officially published by any means, but we do have an abstract that I can send your way.
I think you should talk to Professor Ng about getting that published with you.
That would be awesome. It is needed, that's for sure.
And I do think that, your slides would be very valuable too. And we do have Rhonda Wong on here from the Department of Education today. And so I'm sure there are folks that would be very interested in this. Rhonda's nodding.
Yeah. Thank you. This is Rhonda. Just thank you for the valuable information, and I can pass it along. But like you were saying, there are, from what I understand, every school has different curriculums that they can choose from. So I'm not sure if it'd be consistent, like you're saying, across the board, but I can pass the information along. So thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda. I'm just so grateful. Kiana, are you able to speak now? Did you get your volume? No, shoot. I'm not sure if it's.
It's in the thing, any association to
there
suicide
it goes.
versus lack of sex education, as in those subjected to families' firm stance on religious shaming. I have personally lost friends whose families abandoned them because of their choice.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do any, oh, so yeah, so is that correct? There's the question.
So we didn't focus on the mental health outcomes. That is something we would like to look at some point. One thing we did talk about in our packet and like sharing that is a follow-up to see what else needs to be taught. But it's our assumption just from the responses of the personal interviews as well, that the role of religion, especially here, it does have a very significant impact. It's a large part of why sex and LGBTQ information is so taboo and why there's so much shame around it. So there's no way to really curb that, but if we start to normalize the conversation about it, that's the first step in any sort of progress. But we did not look at anything specifically relating to mental health. Yes. Future surveys, hopefully we can expand a little bit more. This was very much preliminary, but expanding as to the larger impacts of this lack of knowledge would be very helpful. Yes.
You all have just been so amazing, and I have to say it gives the older folks a lot of hope to have the young folks on here doing this work and caring so much about this, and we just really want to express our gratitude to you for this work and for being willing to present it to us. And I know there's going to be some follow-ups. We would love to be able to read what you're writing. We would love to have your slide deck if you would be willing to share it with us. And we can share that out amongst the community as well. So just
Absolutely.
really huge mahalo.
Thank you guys for having us so much.
You are welcome to be at our meetings anytime and all the time. And you are welcome to stay on for the rest of it today. Some of it can be a little bit not as exciting as this, but we love to have your voice in all of our conversations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much. All right, that's going to be hard to beat, you all. That's going to be hard to follow up. Okay, so let's see. We're going to move on to our own ongoing business and updates. So let's see, update on the progress for hiring the administrative assistant 2 position. Devin, would you like to give us an update on your progress?
Sure.
Yes, so. I guess, oh, okay, it's not on paper yet, but, I will be becoming an office assistant for the director's office instead of administrative assistant. So I'll still be continuing to help the commission, and then I'll TA to get back into the admin assistant after that. So the position is filled.
So she's sticking around. If I may, on that note, everybody, I'm gonna be passing off the board packet to, Devin next month. So, she will be sending out the emails to you all, asking you for everything, and setting the deadlines. And we'll talk about deadlines in the next portion of this, so be on the lookout for that. Devin will be taking the board packet off of my deck. So, there you go.
Rick, you have a question?
Yes, please. Devin, are you permanent with us now?
Sorry?
Are you permanent with us now? Are you in a
Uh,
permanent slot now?
Right now, I'm still in the 89-day hire, so my term ends May 19th, which I think is actually next week, Monday. And I think they're gonna extend my 89-day hire while my paperwork gets reviewed. So I'm not sure when exactly I'll be in a permanent position, but hopefully in the next month or so, I will be.
It's
Thank you. Yeah, we're very glad to have you. Thank you.
Very, very glad. Do I have any other comments or public testimony on the process of hiring our administrative assistant? Okay, then we're going to move on to our update on the commission legislative priorities for the 2025 session.
Briefly, we started off the session, going into the session with 11 priorities. 9 bills were actually introduced. We ended the session with 2 bills that are sitting on the governor's desk. And so we just so everybody understands this process is that since we are part of the administration, we are given the opportunities to fill out CNRs. Those are comments and recommendation, that's on any bill we actually testify that reaches the governor's desk. So those have been filled out for everything that we've testified on. We just have 2. I'm just waiting on Rick to give me HB 613 back. And so we get that submitted, as well as the next one is the one that's on the agenda is SB 1651. So we had a 20% success rate around that with our priorities, with things actually hitting the governor's desk. And that's just things for us to consider as we move forward later on in the agenda as well. So yeah, so really briefly, SB 1651, our testimony changed throughout the legislative process because the bill changed. We hands off when it first started off because it was just 2 days notification requirements, which 2 business days. And then the bill got amended to 3 business days. And we opposed the 3 business days because of the lack of turnaround time. Because in reality, what is it? We have 6 calendar days to have our agenda up. The way, using us as the example, so our agenda has to be up by Tuesday at 2:30 p.m., signed, sealed, and delivered up on the site. It gives us 6 full calendar days. And then our board packets would have to be up by, the way this bill is written now, would have to be up on Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. So only giving commissioners 24 hours, as well as staff 24 hours to submit things that are on the agenda to be included in the board packet. Board packets are also to be the place where we put our testimony in. Any testimony that comes in. So it is my recommendation to the commission that we, on the CNR for the SB 1651, that we ask the governor to veto it, given the fact that we're dealing with commission, we're all volunteers here. And Devin is doing double, actually triple duty now, with the work that she's supporting with the DHS Director's Office, as well as us and the Fatherhood Commission. And there are other boards and commissions are in the same part. in the same thing, dealing with this, so keeping the law the way it currently is. And he can send out a directive to everybody saying 2 business or 48 hours prior or whatever, but, so I'm gonna make the motion that that the commission submits a veto request on SB 1651.
Rick,
Yes, I'm, comment section form, and I'll send that back to you and Michael. But I did have one question. I didn't know if our commission, this is our voting and non-voting ex officio members want, it asks if we want to participate or request a signing ceremony. That's where you go to the governor's office and you get your picture taken and you say, we supported this and now it's going to be a law that's important. I can go either way and wanted to see what the commissioners wanted to do. I don't know if that makes sense, but the last question on the list, are you requesting a signing ceremony? So that's a picture op in the governor's office. Do we want one? Do we not want one? I was going to leave it up to everyone else to tell me what to write. Anybody feel a burning desire?
Since it's been 15 years in the making, yes. This bit, and in fact, it would send a nice message to our homeless unaccompanied minors that they're actually, yeah, I mean, yeah, so, yeah, with HB 613, definitely requesting a public signing on that bill because, yeah, we are one of the few blue states that does not have emergency shelters for our homeless and unaccompanied minors. And this has been a long time coming on this, and the fact that we actually got $2.8 million over 2 years for those shelters. Yeah.
I agree with Michael.
Thank you, Sandy. Okay, so it sounds good. Just 2 things. One thing is when I looked it up, did they change the dollar figure? I only had 1.7 million for 2 years. About 800,000 a year is one question. And the second, the only consideration, and I wanted to have a ceremony too. Consideration was, we are also asking that this be done relatively sooner rather than later because it funds a program that has to start a couple days before the end of the fiscal year. But I don't know if that's going to be an issue. I support the idea, but just when it comes through, the figures I found in the law were about between 800,000 and 900,000 a year times 2 years. But I'll just send that.
Okay, there was $871,000 for the first year and $1.8 million for the second year. And that is
1.8 million?
Rick,
Okay.
that's in the C1 version of the bill that was passed.
Okay, thank you. I'll send it back. Okay, I'll go look for.
anyone else?
Well, there's a motion on the floor for us to go veto on SB 1651.
Okay, do you want to restate the motion, please, Michael?
The motion is to go a veto, ask for a veto on Senate Bill 1651 because it takes us from 2 business days to 3 business days to having the board pack it up and effectively just giving board members, commission members 24 hours from the time the agenda is posted to get something in and get a board packet out to everybody.
Okay, do I have a
So-
second? Sandy seconds. Any abstentions? All those in favor?
Chair, did
public
you ask for a public testimony? Thank you.
Public testimony. Okay, all those in favor? All right, we will request it to be vetoed.
Moving on to SCR 145. This, we testified, this is setting up a working group for paid family leave. We testified throughout its process requesting a seat at the table. And each time we were denied saying that they were gonna leave it. There is a provision in this concurrent resolution that allows the chair, and the chair is the Director of Department of Labor and Industrial Relations. So we would have to send a letter to Director Jay Putai asking for a seat. And so for this working group to ensure that, yes, so I so move that we send a letter requesting representation on this working group.
A second.
Public testimony? Okay, any abstentions? All those in favor? So passed. All right, thank you, Michael. Updates on the commission's website. I know that Philip said that he was going to update with the resources from the Queer Day at the Capitol. Any other suggestions for inclusion on the website?
If you guys think of anything between these, feel free to email it to me. We are still working on the glossary terms that will be added to the website. And there's a couple more tweaks that need to happen. So be on the lookout for that.
Public testimony? Okay, update on letter to the governor requesting an executive order from Governor Green to turn Hawaii into a sanctuary state for gender affirming care. As you see in the board packet, there are no updates. No action has been taken. Public testimony? Okay, and then update on letter to Maui Preparatory Academy donors regarding the Maui Prep's anti-LGBTQIA+ policies for students, also in the board packet. Did anyone want to say anything about that?
There's nothing in the board packet because I didn't get everything out in time, but so we're still in the process of processing those and getting, I'm gonna be working with Devin to get work on those and getting some more addresses for the donors to Maui Prep to make sure we hit everybody, to make sure that they're well aware of what they're actually funding. And so, because apparently, for those that haven't been following, if you check out they have a Facebook page. It sounds like the administration is trying to gaslight the parents and the community out there saying, oh, you're giving misinformation. Oh, we like trans people just as long as they don't say they're trans. Kind of thing. So, yeah. So this will be an ongoing issue, I believe, for us, as well as for, especially since it's going to be an ongoing issue for the poor families in the Maui Prep Ohana. But, so.
Anyone else? Public testimony? Okay, update on queer community leaders meeting and community calendar. Yeah, Michael?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
I was working on that with Sandy, our judges. So Sandy and I have reached out and followed up with Michael's lead with Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction Center and Andrew Ogata, and Andrew is here today. Thank you so much for finding a date for the Hawaii State LGBTQI Commission and Hawaii Health Harm Reduction Center to have our Rainbow Pauhana on Thursday, June 12th, 5 p.m. networking and poo-poos and 6 to 7:30 meeting. He already put together the flyer and it is being circulated. Andrew, would you like to make any comments?
No comments, just excited to be hosting this event in conjunction with the commission. I unfortunately was unable to attend the last meeting, the last one that you folks hosted with the Legacy Foundation last quarter, but I think it's great that you folks are doing this once a quarter to bring back all the different queer service providers and just stakeholders to kind of, so that we can work more intentionally together and see how we can support each other. And if there's anybody in need or brainstorming, I think it's great. Also, I think this would be a great opportunity to meet different stakeholders. So I think it's a really great idea that the commission had. So love it. And HHHRC is happy to be the host for this quarter.
And thank you so much, Andrew. And just to remind everyone, we are going to have an OWL. Folks with HHHRC are going to be able to make it so it's a hybrid event. So people,
yes, it will be a hybrid event. So we'll be able to broadcast for our neighbor island family as well.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Andrew. And that's something we're looking into for all future Pauhana to make sure that all islands will be able to be included. Michael already reached out to the Commission on the Status of LGBTQI equality. They have internet access for meetings and they have agreed to host one, as well as Kumukahi Health in Hilo have agreed to host one. So we have potential hosts for the upcoming week. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Andrew. This is Joe Toby from Maui. I sent you my info on Friday and have not heard from you. Can you send that Zoom meeting info on here for me so I can be there at that event, the Pauhana?
Yes, I will drop the Zoom info link.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Andrew. And Joe Wilson had a question regarding the community calendar, I know, and that's something that Michael and I were talking to Randy at the Legacy Foundation about. So Joe, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, thanks, Kat. And yeah, this obviously brings up the really tough issue of when events, come out, unfortunately on the same date. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, we have been working on this event that happens to be also on June 12th. And, it's devastating in a small community like this when events, that are for and within the same community end up conflicting with one another. So we want to try to avoid that. Behind the scenes, as we speak, we're seeing what, if anything, can be done to prevent these two events from happening on the same date on our side, and it involves seeing what's available at the Hawaii Theater. So more on that soon, but it does raise the question that I wanted to explore here or put on a agenda for a future meeting. How do we think about coordinating a community calendar as a community, right? Should it be different than having, to look at the Legacy Foundation? Is there another way we could do it within the commission? A Google Doc or something where we all put down tentative dates for things, or, save the dates or something, so we can just look at what other people are doing and avoid this in the future. Just thoughts are welcome. And I'm sorry about the conflict, Cameron and Andrew. We'll do everything we can.
Joe, sorry, as soon as I heard you talk about the filming on the 12th, I'm on the board of Legacy and it's my fault. I was not aware that there was an event happening on the 12th, but Randy said it looks like they're looking to move to the 10th. So there might still be options and hope. So more formal to come out, but Randy says so far it looks like the director's okay moving to the 10th. So let the commission know that we're good to go.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. That's why these meetings are good. Thank you, Commission, for opening up this space. Okay.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Andrew. And we did talk about with Legacy that the website would be housed, through them and by them. They do have some more funding, obviously, than a bunch of volunteers on the commission. And then that hopefully we would help to contribute to that. And we've been speaking with Devin about what that might look like if folks that attend our meeting or are in communication with us were to submit things, then could we then get them expeditiously to Legacy to be put on the community calendar? Michael?
Does Andrew want to say anything more about the community calendar, or I can, because we have the meeting that I was at with Randy about the upcoming community calendar?
I don't have anything to add about the community calendar.
Okay, there's going to be a portal. They just hired a new PR company. There's going to be a portal on the Legacy Foundation's website for everybody to be able to put whatever events you want on there, and that will be updated once, maybe twice a week. They are still working on that portal with their vendor. Once that's up and going, we as the commission are going to be pushing that out to everybody to encourage them to use it. Because as we discussed, we've already voted to support the community calendar. We're not going to be asking Devin to do anything else other than to help us get the word out. Because there was talk about asking Devin, and Devin was willing to help populate that calendar, but we would have to deal with ethics as well as, and them being barriers of things that Devin could or could not do because if they're being fundraisers or whatnot and using state resources to raise monies. So we take away, we don't have to worry about that. We're just promoting the calendar for everybody's use. The Legacy Foundation's funding that through their funds and having that being updated by their vendor. So be on the lookout for that as we move forward. So there will be a community thing. Whether there's probably you might want to put the idea of looking at save the date kind of stuff. If you're not ready to put the name out, just say future event from your organization or something. But that's something we can look at and have that conversation with Legacy. So we don't have this double booking in the future. And in the month of June, we're always going to have double bookings when it comes to Pride months.
I see in the chat here, Kiona said Big Island has had a history of no events or last minute cancels or permits submitted too late. Now everyone here just naturally assuming nothing is or will happen. Anyone else? Any other public testimony? Okay. Then we'll move on to an update on accepting private funding. There is a blurb about that in the board packet so that we can all understand the parameters of that. Is there anything that anyone needs to say or wants to say regarding that?
Just really briefly, that we're actually going to go through that process of accepting public funding, private funding in this meeting. We do need to have it sunshine, and we do need to vote on it before we can technically accept anything public funding so that everybody can see where that money's coming from and what it's going to. And that includes in-kind or hard, and if anybody comes up with cash to give us, that's going to be a bigger conversation to have. It needs going to take a little bit longer. So yeah, but we are able to do it.
Anyone else? Public testimony? Okay. Update on purchasing the owl.
Got it.
We got it? You're using it now? That's ours? Okay. Fantastic. Okay, yeah. Public testimony? Yay. Okay, terrific. And we purchased our own owl just in case we couldn't borrow the one that we were borrowing from DHS. So now we have it guaranteed, which is wonderful. Okay, then update of building a coalition with Kupuna, Mahu, and LGBTQIA+ organizations to identify and address the needs of the communities Kupuna, especially Mahu, trans, non-binary, and intersex. Do I have some updates?
Yes, ma'am. So we had discussed last time, or was it 2 ago? We'd previously discussed creating a PIG, a permitted interaction group, such a thing about basically LGBTQ Kupuna. And there is already, as I put in the board packet, there's already a work group, part of the sexual and gender minority work group recently, meaning this calendar year, began a Kupuna committee, which is dedicated to basically collaborating with folks that are stakeholders, working with Kupuna and having Kupuna on the committee and trying to find ways to improve the lives of our LGBTQ plus Kupuna. And I spoke with Erin last week, I believe, and it was, so she believes that what we are doing and our goals of having a PIG are, we don't really have a PIG. We don't have a specific goal which would make a PIG. And because we are, the group that I am thinking of is actually already a pre-existing group that we did not create, it would not be a PIG. So instead, we may consider continuing to participate in the Kapuna committee as it is. And then committee members are able to contribute and collaborate and act as liaison. Currently, myself and Rick Velasquez are working on both. And I believe this serves the needs of the commission at this point because we don't have a specific tangible thing that we're looking for, which if we do, maybe we will have to create a pig. But at this time, we can use the Kapuna committee, which is already functioning and already has a kind of wide range of members to connect with the larger Hawaii Kapuna that are geared toward and serving the LGBTQ plus and larger Kapuna population. So currently, the members that are kind of actively participating are David Stuppelbein and Michaela Ebrow, both researchers working with the VA, Linda Krieger, a retired law professor, Christina Valenzuela, she's the legal services developer at the Executive Office on Aging, Val Tavai, Nathan Leo with the Legacy Foundation, Thaddeus Pham with Department of Health, and oh, I don't know who this person is, so I'm not going to say her name at risk of getting that wrong. We have connections with John McDermott at the Ombudsman's Office, Jeanette at Kakua Mau, and we were intending to reach out to Hakapuna, the UH Center on Aging, the Kapuna Collective. We are already connected with Maddie at H3RC Kua'ana Project, and somebody is connecting with Papa Ololokahi. In addition, it was suggested that we reach out to the Policy Advisory Board on Elder Affairs, the Kapuna Caucus, AARP, Kapuna Collective, I already mentioned, the Kapuna Caucus of the Democratic Party of Hawaii, and county-specific elder aging offices divisions, which we discussed today because we just had our meeting today and we are going to do that. So we're going to broaden the scope of the committee as it is now to try to include a little bit more political folks. So that's kind of where we're at that. We do have a couple projects that we're working on that I want to talk about, but first I want to discuss with you guys if there is any issue or you have any concerns about not having a specific pig and instead having that be the community group that it is that we are participating on.
Hi, Shonda, it's Erin. And just to add on to everything you said, because you did a good summary, the idea was that the commission members would participate kind of like how the chair Kat participates when she goes to the quarterly meetings and she comes back and kind of just gives a summary of what was discussed and provides, extra and shares other information from that meeting.
And obviously we cannot commit the commission to anything at that meeting without bringing it back to you guys first.
Right.
Okay, so in the absence of anybody speaking up, I will give you a quick update. So we are changing the date. We're going to be meeting the last Monday of each month at noon via televideo. You can reach out to myself or Thaddeus Pham if you want to be added to that list and participate. That is specifically so that the commission can be better prepared for it. So if there's anything that needs to happen, that I can add it to the board packet or on the agenda with enough time to function rather than back to back, because right now it's right before it was today. So two things that we're working on. One, we will begin planning for a SAGE table. Oh, I don't have the link for that ready to go, sorry. In September, what this is an intergenerational meal to build community connections and decrease isolation in our at-risk Kapuna and youth both. Basically, we're going to find a way to get a bunch of people together and have a meal together that are both youth and folks like me and Kapuna, and we can build connections and, oh, thank you, Thaddeus. We can build connections and decrease isolation and just kumbaya. So we're going to do that. Anybody who wants to participate in that, who wants to provide resources can. We're thinking maybe Mo'ili'ili. Somebody has a connection possibly at the community center there. But my idea is that it will be mobile. It'll happen maybe every 4 months at first. And if we can make it happen faster, that would be great. And it will be in different locations. And yes, we are hoping to work with our neighbor island folks and have it on other islands if we're able to get enough momentum to make that happen. And then the second big project that we're working on is I had an extensive conversation with John McDermott at the Ombudsman's office today. We are wanting to move forward with my personal directions for quality living. I'm gonna put that in the chat. Should have left that for Thaddeus because he's great. Well, I guess it's gonna have to be Thaddeus finding it. What this is a document that can be used for people in long-term care or in healthcare environments or living environments at or toward the end of life when they're unable to speak for themselves regarding their wishes. The document has a whole lot of things. It's very patient-centered. It's amazing. And at the beginning of it, it says the name that I prefer and my pronouns are. This was created as a result of a social worker telling me that his client was misgendered during long-term care and then after death. She was a trans woman and she was dressed in a suit and her hair was cut and she was presented as male at her funeral. So we are working to try to find ways to empower people and respect their dignity and reduce the chances of that happening accidentally. Obviously, we can't fix everyone who is doing it intentionally, but we can create an opportunity for people to speak ahead of, this is what I would want. We're reaching out to lots of organizations, and one of the things that I got from the Ombudsman's office is he noted a need for a list of care homes that are LGBTQ plus affirming, or at least accepting. He gets requests for those on a regular basis, and that makes sense to me, and I hadn't thought of that. So we're going to begin to compose this. I think that's it.
Thanks, Shanda. I see that Philip wrote in the chat, thank you for including neighbor islands in this and other endeavors. I hear quite frequently that there's no queer community on Kauai, and while I try to produce events and make things happen here, it's not always easy. Thank you, Philip. And then also Kiona has in here that I've sang at events in the past. I would love to contribute more. Wonderful. Thank you. Anyone else?
Just so everybody knows, so moving forward at the June meeting, we're gonna put on the agenda to dissolve that pig. And then move forward with this structure.
Do we need to do that? Because I thought we were
Yes.
interested in the creation of it. No?
We voted to create the pig and now we have to vote to dissolve it. And it needs to be on the agenda for that to happen.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, public testimony. Okay, then we're going to move on to updates on Pride participation. Okay, discussion and vote on collateral for tabling at Pride and other opportunities. And you can see in the agenda there, we have listed the different dates for the different Pride events.
But for the first one, after Queer Day at the Capitol, it was quite clear that we needed to actually have to put everything together in a more professional manner. So, and looking at our budget, so I asked Devin, and after talking to Kat, to find us, we have purchased a tablecloth with our logo on it, a pull-up banner, and we're gonna have stickers. And we're waiting for those to come in. You wanna, since I can see this, so everybody, can you see that? And it looks better in person, trust me. The pink doesn't, yeah, the lighting doesn't do it justice here. So we had that printed. And we're gonna have a pull-up banner that matches our word, our messaging that's on the website with the QR code, so we could pull those up at a tabling event, and as well as stickers. So I guess this is a confirmation motion to, support the, decision of the chair to okay the purchasing of a tablecloth, stickers, and a pull-up sign. So we could use those monies out of our 2024-2025 budget. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Public testimony? Abstentions? All those in favor? Awesome. Thank you. And that tablecloth looks, or table banner looks amazing. Shanda, you have your hand up?
I was voting.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, super. All right then. Any discussion around any of the prides that are coming up, or anything else that we need to know that we don't know already? Joe?
Yes, Shonda mentioned about a table, and it just dawned on me, our Pride is gonna be happening from the 1st to the 14th next month. And our last closing festival is the big event. And I'm gonna have a table on the 14th, but I was wondering if anybody has anything they could have. I know Michael and Kat are coming over. If you could get them whatever flyers or posters, whatever that we could have on the table to mention anything about any kind of information or events that's coming up that they can bring over with them when they come over for our event. I'd love to have it on our table. I'll be manning our table.
I guess I should have said, we're gonna be bringing the tablecloth, the pull-up sign, and the banners with us. Well, not the banners to Kauai, not to Maui, since there's no parade, but we will be bringing the rest of these. And then we also have the signs with the QR codes on them available for all the, at all our tabling events, along with the stickers.
Thank you so much.
Those will be traveling with Kat and I when we come over to Kauai, Maui, and if we can get in contact with Hilo.
And I just wanted to plant a bug in an ear that I was unable to travel to any of the prides this current season, but I would love to represent us in September on Big Island.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Shanda. That's fantastic. Okay, and then, discussion and vote on whether to accept stickers for the Kauai.
Yeah, he wants, go back to Philip for Kauai.
Philip, please.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that stuff, Michael. The pull-up sign, is that this thing? Yes.
Yeah.
It's like we are so small, I suggest you don't bring that. The tablecloth, yes. And the banner, do I need to get poles? Are you bringing poles?
I'm working on that. I'm working on the, making sure I can check the polls. Cause I already
Well-
have the polls, for the parade banner. And then the smaller banner I'm gonna bring just to have backup for the car. And along with the magnetic signs.
Okay. And then, yes, thank you for the QR codes and all the sign up things. I can have pens and clipboards. I have all that kind of stuff. And I just wanted to, just today, I reached out to our mayor and our county council members. The Pride Committee always invites them to the parade, but I wanted to make a personal invitation to them as the Kauai Commissioner. I've reached out to them a number of times to say that I'd like to meet them. They've not responded, but I did invite them to the parade and told them that we would have a table, and it was a great opportunity for them to come and get to meet some of the members of the commission. And I also invited them to the exhibition of the Queer Justice event, hoping that some of them will show up. Looking forward to having you.
So everybody knows we already paid the $500 to Kauai, and our logo does appear on their website.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Check has been cut, correct? That's why. Yeah. And the quote and the check for Maui's been cut, correct? Yes. So yes, Kat and I were coming over to help staff the table with Joe at the festival. And then since Rocco's not here, just so everybody knows where we're at with Hilo is that we're waiting. We either need something officially on their website. We have their TreeLink thing that is not good enough for to get our ticket to purchase the airline tickets because it's Rick, Kat and I that are going over for that. Or planning on going over for that, as well as having a card. So with a table at the festival afterwards, and again, bringing everything, all the accoutrement again with us there. So there's that. We have also paid Kona Pride for the $500 that has been processed or in the way of being processed. And I just got confirmation today. We're also going to be paying $500 out of this month's budget for Honolulu Pride. So everybody, all the prides that we participate in, everybody's going to get the same $500 since that's what we voted on. And so it's all coming out. Everything for all the prides in 2025 are coming out of 2024, 2025 funds so we can use up as much of our budget as possible to make sure we have funds available for next year for other things. So yeah, so you'll hear more about Hilo hopefully sooner rather than later, and I will reach out to people over there as well to see if we can get that, because technically all we need is a letter from the organizers on their letterhead, plus we need the invoice from them so we can, with their EIN, so we can get them their monies as well. And just so everybody know here, everybody, all the commissioners, just so you all hear all that. If we're sponsoring something, we need an invoice, and the invoice, if we either have it on there or have it be able to provide an EIN to get those sponsorship dollars paid out. Otherwise, it will not be processed. Correct? Devin's over here nodding. So yeah, just so everybody's aware of that. And then, so that's all I have. That's all the updates. And then, sorry, Madam Chair, back to the last item on the under prides.
The stickers. And thank you. Oh, is that the stickers? Is
Yes.
that what you're showing me, Philip? That's beautiful.
It's the Kauai Pride website. So there's
Oh.
our logo.
Very nice.
Yes.
So Philip is generously giving us stickers to hand out at the Kauai Pride. And so we need to discuss and vote on that since that is a donation. So yes, discussion on stickers, anyone?
I didn't know Michael was buying stickers, so I got them and I'd like to donate them. And Aaron informed me that the committee or the commission has to discuss and decide whether or not they can be handed out. Since it's a donation, I guess I don't have domain over what you would all like to do with the stickers.
I just want to clarify what I said to Philip is that the commission has to vote on whether they're going to accept the donation. I believe Philip wrote a letter and he included the terms and conditions of his donation. So you just have to read that and see if the purposes align with your statute and then decide whether you're going to accept the terms and conditions. So for example, I think he said that anything remaining has to be returned to him so that it could be used for future Pride events on Kauai. Does that make sense?
We're very fond of stickers here on the island, and so I think I bought 100. I'm highly doubtful that there will be any left, but really it was just like I didn't want them to sort of disappear. It's like I'll take them and use them again.
I have no problem with any of this. Anyone?
I move that we accept the donation as prescribed in the letter by from Philip.
Second.
Public testimony? Any abstentions? All those in favor? Thank you. Yay stickers, they look great, Philip. Thank you very much. All right, update on sponsoring Gender Journey Day. Back to you, Shanda.
It is my understanding that we have sent the check and we are now sponsoring. So that gives us oh goodness, I believe it's 3 slots at Gender Journey Day. I would love to have one because I'm intending to go. But if there are other people that want to go and we have more than 3 people that want to go, I'm more than happy to pay my own way because I love them. So who would like one of the 3 tickets?
Can you tell us the date again, Shanda? Sorry.
Oh, I cannot.
It's June 28th.
28th.
Go, we'll be on Hilo. We'll be in Hilo.
Oh, so that's not me then. Okay. Others?
It is on a Saturday at the med school down in, do you consider that Kaka'ako? Most of the day, there are different tracks, one for educators, one for healthcare providers, including therapists, and one for trans youth and family. Well, if anybody wants one, let me know. Oh, Rick, yay.
No, I can't go. I'm going to Hilo, but
Ah.
just making sure that ex officio members are also able to attend with these tickets, right? If they wanted to go.
Thanks, Rick. Thaddeus and I are already on the planning committee and presenting.
Anyone else?
So I don't know if it would be too late for us to vote on this. If we don't have anybody to use those tickets, then if I can gift them back and they can donate them to family members, I don't know if we're allowed to do that. Is that a problem, Erin?
You're going to gift it back to the conference, or I'm sorry.
Well, I guess
trying to
I guess we just actually wouldn't use it and they can do what they will with it. So that
I think it's
simpler.
better if you're just not going to use it. It's simpler just to not use it, and then you know, the conference can decide what to do with that information.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Public testimony? All right, super. Thank you, Shanda. Let's see, update on commission statement regarding University of Hawaii's response to executive orders attacking diversity, equity, and inclusion. You can see the board packet for our statement of support in President Hensel's recent actions. Anyone want to say anything about that? Or public testimony?
Just real briefly, I've received through back channels that President Hensel really appreciated our statement supporting her. This was in direct response to her signing on to the Harvard support of Harvard. So yeah, it's good to see UH taking the proactive stance of telling the administration that they're not going to support discrimination, and they're going to support the diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility.
From the University of Hawaii, I just want to share a thank you from President Hensel in receiving the support through the form of the Instagram and also the email. She really appreciates knowing that her leadership in the community to stand against attacks on DEI are well heard and well received. She will continue to be a leader in those areas and invites members of the commission, especially you, Kat, and Michael, to reach out to her directly if there are any concerns in the future.
Thank you, Cameron. We will do that. Public testimony? All righty. Wrap up on Queer Day at the Hawaii State Capitol. And a giant thank you to Michael and to Devin for planning that. Yeah, Michael, you want to say a few words?
Sure, I'm gonna make it really brief. You see all the responses to everybody's things. We did, the survey. I do want to echo that I would not have been able to do Clear Day without Devin. It was, I've done a lot of events in my day, and to get this kind of response, positive response from the participants, the exhibitors, is unheard of. Somebody always has something to complain about. But really not, they were just, everything that we saw there are tweaks to make things better, for the next year. We already have is, yeah, there are people standing up wanting to help us, make it a full day of having like a panel in the morning, the tabling during the lunchtime, and then another panel in the afternoon. Especially since there will be no, Rainbow Resiliency Conference next year. Since that's every other year. So, yeah. But yeah, again, big thank you to Devin, and Kat. And, yeah, so, and all the decorations you saw came out of my, my hall closet. And a big thank you to Rainbow family for driving me there, and helping set up as well. So, yeah. And that's all I have to say on this. We'll be looking forward to doing this again, making it an annual event. Because this did help put us on the map and, make sure everybody know that we exist. So.
Sorry that I missed that, but I just wanted to thank you guys who were there. Michael, just a question. Was there a nice mix of ages there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We had
I
our
went into
retirement.
all the booths and everyone was very appreciative and happy to be there and enjoyed the networking opportunity. And yeah, I saw folks from all walks of life and all ages.
Okay, good to know. I was just wondering about the presentation of, as far as the Kapuna who might or might not have showed up. So glad to hear.
Anyone else? Public testimony? All right, well, hopefully we will all be able to attend next year because it was amazing. And then, oh, okay, so update on collecting hate crimes data discussion. Michael?
Given the time, I asked that we just bypass this and move on, and we'll bring it up again next month.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, update on Hawaii Departments of Education's actions taken or to be taken in response to the required certification to end all DEI practices to receive federal funding. Rhonda, are you prepared to give us an update, or are there any updates?
There actually is, I know we submitted a certification for Title VI, which is not really relevant to this, but we haven't actually made any changes to any of our programs. So for example, our transgender guidance is still out there and being implemented, but there has been no, we've been told, I think Beth mentioned to you guys last time, the AGs had told us to keep everything status quo, so no actual changes have been made.
Thank you. You haven't seen any of the schools, any backlash about that at all? Anyone calling you out or anything like that?
I've been having some emails, but we're telling them that we're seeking guidance from the AG's office and following their directive. And from what I understand, the AG's is filing, I believe they're filing a lawsuit or pushing back against the orders, but as far as we know, currently we're just, like Beth mentioned, trying to fly under the radar because the federal funding could be pulled. So we're just trying to maintain, but also keep our practices in place.
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, it's not a more solid answer, but we're on a tricky ground trying to keep everything, but also be cognizant of not putting a red flag up so that, yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering, I don't know if we mentioned it last meeting, I don't remember, but the Department of Education sent an email out, many of us received, giving us a Google form basically to report anyone who was supporting DEI in the classrooms. So that was what my question was kind of like, is that happening and is it getting back to?
Well, actually, I believe that form was from the US Department of Education, so the feds. So we wouldn't know. Currently we haven't, it would go probably to their Office of Civil Rights. Knock on wood, we haven't received any of those complaints yet. So I'm hoping that there's no complaints, but there could be, and we just are not aware of it yet.
Yeah.
But we can let you know in future meetings if we do receive any. What would happen is the Office for Civil Rights, the federal entity, would reach out to us asking us to respond. But so far, we haven't had any. So let's hope that stays.
I'm knocking on wood right alongside.
Yeah. Thank you.
Really briefly on the Google form, not to say this in official capacity anyway, but it'd be horrible if like Goofy and Mickey Mouse filled those out and just spammed it. So I'm not saying that in my official capacity as a commissioner, but I am saying that in my official capacity as an advocate. Say. Use their tools against them.
I appreciate your creativity.
And just, I thought I should add to, there were, from what I believe, there was 12 Office for Civil Rights federal entities, like different branches across the nation. And I believe they closed 7 of them. So there's only 5 left. So their caseloads are probably gonna be mashed. So there could be a delay, but we're hoping that there's no complaints being filed. So we'll keep you updated in the next one.
We appreciate that, Rhonda. Cameron?
Rhonda, I just want to thank you for the work you're continuing to do with the Department of Education. Working with UH, I know it's really difficult to be strategic and staying forward so we can hold fast to our values to protect our students' well-being. I work also with PFLAG Oahu with a lot of families who have kids and students in the DOE. And I know some members are here today in the Zoom meeting. I was wondering just like if a parent feels that their child could use additional support or that there was something that happened that might not be right, and they're not sure what to do. Do you have any suggestions on the most productive way that they could go about reaching out?
Yes, and thanks, Cameron, for your work as well at UH.
Thank you.
As far as parents that have concerns, they can bring it up with their administrators. And if if they feel that it's not enough, because administrators know they're supposed to provide supports. If that's not enough, they can also reach out to the Civil Rights Compliance Branch within the department. So that's the office I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's different specialists for each complex from the Civil Rights Compliance Branch office, and then they could also work with the school to provide supports.
Okay, thanks so much for
Thank
being here,
you.
Rhonda. I
You
appreciate
too.
that.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Public testimony? Okay, thank you again, Rhonda, for being here and for updating us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, update, let's see, update on request for proclamation for June 2025 Pride Month from the governor.
Looks like we're getting it, and that should be available. We should have it in hand by the last Wednesday of the month.
Excellent, excellent. Public testimony? Alrighty, update on issuing a statement supporting transgender students participating in sports.
You see the statement that was issued that we voted on. We didn't receive any backlash from anybody, and really nothing spammed any of our accounts. So, yay, the bigots haven't found us.
Public testimony on that? Okay, moving on to new business. Update from Genders and Sexualities Alliance Advisors Meetup. Do we have updates?
The only update the only thing I have on this one is that I went to the first one, and it was April 1st. The idea with these would be monthly. Is Thaddeus is still on here?
He was, and then
I'm
he
still
left.
here. Yeah.
Okay.
But go ahead, Michael.
Are we gonna go to monthly on those? Starting next month?
Yeah, so we were able to convene April 1st, as Michael said, with various Gender Sexuality Alliance advisors, so not the students, but the advisors who run the group, to see, what their needs are, and also identify if they wanted to continue having this space, and they very clearly did. They didn't really have this space before, and I also want to acknowledge it was ranging all the different age groups, including post-secondary. So Cameron was there and other colleges as well. So we met again with some of the work group. What was it, last Tuesday? What is time? And then we were able to talk about next steps. So I just reviewed the summary. I just sent it to DOE for our folks that we're working with there to set up the kind of the next steps. So what I'll go over with them is figuring out what the cadence will be, who will run it, things like that. But folks want to ensure from the GSA side that DOE is still involved because they really appreciate the updates and also really appreciate, the gesture that shows that GSAs are a vital part of the club kind of ecosystem for DOE and for other non-DOE schools. So the work is continue. I literally just sent the email, I think 10 minutes ago while we're multitasking. But thank you everyone who joined. I think folks who did attend, you'll note that this is so timely to support our GSA advisors. It's much needed as they support our kids who are no doubt seeing everything that's happening. So if anyone else who joined would like to add, but that's a little bit of what happened.
I have heard from several of the teachers that were there. They've contacted me offline afterwards, so and then they also know we're here to support them as well as along with their students, that they know the commission now exists as well on that front. So that yeah, we're here to provide backup.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? All right, public testimony. Okie dokie then. Tabling for Honolulu AIDS Walk on June 21st.
I move that we, again, this is gonna be approved funding for $25 to do the tabling, which the check has already been, the request for the check has already been sent out.
Second. Any discussion? Public testimony? So do we need to vote to approve it then, if we've already sent it? Yes, okay. Do I have a motion?
You did it. That's what I did that and Shonda seconded.
Oh, and you seconded, Shanda. Okay. Any abstentions? All those in favor? Okay, so you all put that one on your calendar as well, June 21st. All right, 2025 Commission Fiscal and Legislative Report to the Governor and Legislators.
And I'm pretty sure that I think I sent you an email saying that I would be happy to table for us at the AIDS Walk.
Oh, thank you, Shanda.
Shanda and I will be there.
Thank you so much.
And I'll be bringing all the good pretty stuff with me. Okay. So the fiscal report, you see everything there. We're gonna have to have a draft for our next meeting, so we can vote on it in July. Everybody has homework. Nobody gets out of this when it comes to a commissioner. So make sure you get your things to Devin. You're gonna so they can be included in the board packet. You're gonna need to give Devin at least the Thursday before the meeting. So Devin has time to put everything together for the report for at least for us to look at. So the Thursday, that'd be the Thursday. And Devin gave me the heads up that yes, that's correct. So that would be June 5th. Whatever portion that whatever you want included in that, for the fiscal report. This will have a recap of our legislative successes and failures, as well as all the money we spent over the last 12 months. And so we will have that, and then we'll be able to look at that at the June meeting. we may, and look at any amendments or edits, and then we'll have a final version in our July meeting for us to vote on to be sent to the legislature. And so this will be our full report for the year. So we will cover some of the things that were already covered in the one that went in December. But yes, so yeah, so you all see that. So you all, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. But yeah, so at least a couple of sentences from everybody. And as we look towards the future, as we move forward with this commission.
Okay, questions? Where are we emailing this in? Did you say, Michael? We're emailing it to Devin? Or is there one form that we're filling out, one document?
It's gonna be one, she's gonna compile it all into one document.
So we're emailing you, Devin, directly
Yes, email to Devin directly
by June 5th.
by June 5th.
Devin, can we make sure to send out one email reminder at least about that, especially since Rocco isn't here? Thank you. Okay, any public discussion or public testimony on that? All righty. Let's see. Discussion and vote supporting the request for pride flags to be flown from the auxiliary flagpoles for Pride Month. Any discussion on whether or not to support?
I'd like to open the floor to Joe or Dean on this one, since they're the ones that had made the official request to the governor's office.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, as Michael indicated, he asked me a week or two ago if Leipua Ala Queer Histories of Hawaii would be interested in asking for pride flags to be flown during June Pride Month. And we are very supportive of that idea. I think pride flags have always been a great symbol, and they're especially important now as various capitals around the country are prohibiting the flying of such flags. By law, the pride flag cannot be flown on the 3 big poles in front of the Capitol, which are reserved for the United States flag, the Hawaii flag, and also a missing in action flag. But there are 8 other poles. You might or might not have noticed them. There are 4 on one side next to the Capitol and 4 on the opposite side. They kind of look like lampposts, the same height, but they are in fact flag poles. And if you drive down Beretania now, you'll see that they have some, I think it's pride and service type of flags flying on them now. And so the plan is to have 8 pride flags flying there. 4 of them will be the new progressive, including intersex pride flags. And 4 of them, so that we make sure everybody gets the message, will be the classical pride flag people are familiar with. And I just got a 6'4" flag. It's really nice. Only $75. I thought that it would be a great idea to do this not just from Leipua Ala, but to do it as a consortium of concerned community groups and communities. And so we've asked several different community groups to support this idea and chip in $75 if you can afford 1 flag. And if not, Leipua Ala can cover it. And so far we have the Leipua Ala North Shore Diversity Collective, which is up here on the North Shore and rarely gets mentioned. Legacy Foundation will be doing one. Cameron said that PFLAG will do one, which is really great. And then we'll also be asking the sports group, the Iconic group, and probably the queer hiking group, Imperial Court, and a few others. So we're looking forward to that. I wrote to the protocol director who directs events and asked if there's any chance the governor might be interested in doing a flag raising ceremony, but have not heard back. And then also wrote and told them, their communications team, that we want to make sure that we express our gratitude and appreciation to the governor for the support that these flags show. And so we'll work with them to make sure that that's done in an appropriate way. So that's the plan, and I hope you guys support it, because it would be kind of cool to have the flags there.
Dean, as you were speaking, it made me wonder if any of the commissioners here on the neighbor islands might be interested in finding additional community groups that could be included in the list of collaborator supporters, because it's wonderful to show more of an island-wide effort when we're doing something at the Capitol.
I'm here on Maui, and we have our Mayor Bisson, who's going to be doing a proclamation for us on June 5th. But instead of having it a full week of having our flags up, it's just going to be one day, which is the time of when he puts it up at about 10:30 at the county building, and then it's going to be taken down, I think maybe when the sun goes down, because last year I think it was taken down or stolen twice. So that's why this year it's only going to be one day.
We don't know what the schedule is for the pride flags. We haven't heard that. We just know that they're going to be putting them up for some period of time.
Philip.
Just to be clear, so this is the state capitol, right? Not a county building. Okay.
Correct.
And would there be, if I start pounding the pavement and seeing if I can find somebody, is there some kind of, recognition, or how will, what, I guess people are going to say to me, what do we get out of it? We're buying a flag that we're never going to see. So how is that addressed?
The only recognition I know of at this point is that we will send out some sort of release that mentions the different groups, and that's all I know about. And we haven't heard back from the governor's office, so I'm not sure. Yeah.
Perhaps it could be listed on the commission's website as well, who the list of community collaborators are.
Well, that's a good idea.
That would be great if you guys would do that. Yeah.
What I was to address that point is that we would just so everybody we would have a picture of the flag. One of the things I was discussing with Dean was that we'd have a picture of the flag and have what each of the colors represent on the flag, especially for both flags. So people understand. So it's an educational piece for everybody that can see that, and hopefully encourage all of the sponsors with a listing of the people that provided financial support, the orgs that provided financial support, and then the orgs that supported the effort. And then we get that out to everybody in a digital format of some kind. So to answer your quick question, Philip, that's one of the ways. So if you get your logo, and then we can put it in a PDF that's hot linked to the website if they have one. And the other orgs would be just listed and it'd be hot linked to the website if they have one. And I think it doesn't take much effort to get that done. Because Pride at Work has also agreed to pay for one of the flags, as well as the Stonewall Caucus of the Democratic Party of Hawaii. So yeah, there's 8 flags there. And
great.
Do you already have 8? That sounded like a lot of organizations.
But we haven't asked all of them, so it's
okay.
The last 4 are in flux. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Rick?
Just to be clear, that means that a group, even if you don't buy a flag, you can still go on record as saying you support the request, right?
Yeah.
So maybe in Kauai, Phillip, or places on the other islands might be able to say, we're willing to send a letter of support, be on board with this, and you can list our name as a group that's asking. And that might make the governor more amenable to saying this is a statewide, request.
Yeah.
Even if without paying.
In fact, now I think about it, why discriminate on the basis of $75? Why don't we just have all of the groups be the supporters of the flags? I think that would make the most sense. Yeah. If that's okay with people.
Yeah, I second that.
Great. Rick?
Thank you.
have
I just want to make sure. It looks like so both the mayor of Maui and the mayor of Kauai have already agreed to a proclamation for Pride Month. That's fantastic. Is that already done?
okay, we need to, it's 4:30, we need to stick to the topic at hand, and that's the flags supporting this. So I'm gonna make the motion that we support the flags, the raising of these flags in this project.
Public testimony? Do I have a second?
Second.
Abstentions? All those in favor? Thank you all very much for that. Okay,
Thank you.
Dean, I'll be working with you on behalf of the commission. Okay?
Okay, great. Sounds good.
we're probably going to have to push the discussion and vote on polling public for 2026 legislative priorities and the sending a representative to the Hawaii Coalition for Civil Rights, unless either one of those are time sensitive.
We've already missed 1 month on that one. And then, I really wanted to start being able to poll people during the Pride events. But that is just the idea behind that one was to take what the priorities we still had from our list and then also give the, public an opportunity to provide us any other ideas. Because if we're gonna wanna get something in, at least one item in the governor's package for the 2026 legislative process, we're gonna wanna know that, we're gonna need to make that decision at the July meeting as well. Because as everybody remembers, we missed the deadline in this last year for the 2025 year. So
Do you want to make a Google form or?
I'm gonna make the motion that we poll the general public at the month of June and see what comes up as our priorities, so we help us set our priorities in July.
Okay, so we're not saying how we're polling them, we're just saying we are.
Yep, just.
Okay. Public testimony? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any abstentions? All those in favor? We will poll them.
And the other one, you can actually just appoint somebody and send them to that meeting, and then we can vote on making them permanent at the next meeting, Madam Chair. So if you're interested, let Kat know you want to go to represent us at that meeting.
And the date and everything in the board packet, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I want to point out that we're going to start next month's meeting at 2:00. We've invited 4 different service providers that deal with homeless unaccompanied minors. We can see what's going on out there and have them report to us. So it's going to have a presentation of the first half hour of our meeting will be a presentation, and then we'll actually go into the meeting. So because we've invited 4, we haven't heard back from everybody yet, but my better guess is we're gonna have at least 3 out of the 4 show ups. And each, because Triple HRC's already said they'll be here, and so we'll follow up on them. So just so everybody put that in your calendar, if you're able to be here, there will be a presentation only portion, and then we'll go into the meeting, or the Pride meeting, Pride month.
Thank you, Michael. All right, discussion on adjournment? Public
So moved.
testimony? Okay, do I have a second? Any abstentions? All those in favor? All right, well, I'll see you at Pride or at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.